Pooh, are you ready? Yep. All right. So this is the regular meeting of the Woodbridge Conservation Commission, October 20th, 2016. First on the agenda tonight is public comments. There's nobody in the public area, so we will move on. Review and approve minutes of the July 21st regular meeting.
I thought that was canceled.
The August meeting got canceled. So we couldn't approve the July minutes in August because we didn't have a meeting, and we couldn't approve the July minutes in September because we didn't have a quorum.
Okay.
We got a quorum now.
All right.
So, so I am looking for a motion to approve the July 21st.
I don't believe I was at the July meeting then.
You were.
You were, according to the
Wasn't?
There were only 2 people not there. I was one of them.
Okay. I thought I missed another.
Well, the minutes are here.
All right.
And you spoke. You pointed out typos.
All right. I remember that fun meeting. Okay. I didn't see the minutes. Can I see the minutes?
Sure.
Were they
They're in here. Right. No.
Okay. Pointed out a typo. That's hilarious. All right.
Is there a motion to approve the July minutes?
I make a motion to accept the meetings, July minutes.
Is there a second?
Right, second.
Please. Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Abstain?
As I was not there, I was.
Okay. No opposition. Excellent. Next formal business here is review and approve minutes of September 15th. This is an interesting one. You can vote to approve even though you weren't there.
Yeah.
I will make
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Thank you. For September. In September, we did not have a quorum officially, so there were no votes. It's just more of a notes on what happened at the meeting.
Okay.
Is there a second? For September's?
second.
Thank you. Any discussion of September's minutes? All right. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Moving on. The 2016 trail walks update. So at the beginning of October, we had our October trail walk at the Massaro Community Farm during the Family Fun Day. The event itself, Family Fun Day, was fantastic. Had a fairly good participation. The weather held out for most of the afternoon. However, on the trail walk, it was me, Tracy, and her husband. So
romantic.
it was a very small group.
But enthusiastic.
And I'm not entirely surprised with the small turnout because everybody was up at the farm having a good time with face painting and spin art and scarecrow stuffing. And so we'll continue to try, make the offer with the best we can do. So there it was.
Mm-hmm.
Good weather.
Good.
Very dry. None of the streams had a drop of water in them, which is just
Usually
indicative of the weather.
There is some water in that area, in the back area, which you watch
There is.
generally.
So finishing off 2016 for trail walks, I know in November we were thinking that Lauren, you might lead one.
I think November 5th, Saturday, November 5th. And I am planning to do it. And I have a really good idea for the trail, but right now I can't remember it. Julie, do you remember what I said?
Mm-mm.
Okay. So I will let you know as soon as I remember.
Was it going to be the Alice Newton?
No, it was going to be some cool one.
Cool?
Really
Well, they're all
one.
cool. Come on.
An extra cool one. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Find the Darling House, maybe?
No, extra cool.
More cool.
Yes.
Wow.
Now I'm intrigued.
I know, and as soon as I get a text
The
back,
one off Hemlock
I
Hollow.
will tell you where it is.
Is it Hemlock Hollow?
It's because somebody knows about it. Someone. So we're gonna.
Is it behind the?
It's a real one. It's
behind
on the
bank?
blue. It's related to blue.
Okay.
Okay.
Is
gonna be great.
It's an officially marked trail, it's not just a
Yes,
random walk
no,
through
no,
the
no,
woods. Okay.
yes.
Is
It's
there
official,
parking?
it's marked blue, and November 5th, I have a little bit of time to get it in the,
Yep.
so I will for
Very
sure do
cool.
that. And I think I'm gonna do it November 5th, that Saturday in the morning,
Mhm.
because,
Yep, Saturday
Then
around
it's-
9 is usually.
okay, that
probably
would be
best.
good, because then it's daylight savings
On
the next day, and I have to teach. and blah, blah,
Yeah, usually just plan like 9 to 10.
blah. Okay, 9 to
And that's-
10, a place to be
If we can figure out where it is.
announced.
If we can, yeah,
Yes.
if we know where. Would anyone like, I know Tom, you like the colder weather, would you like to volunteer for December?
Well, he's
Sure.
the least.
No, I
It
can.
gives
I
them an
can
excuse
walk.
to get
It
out
just-
and exercise the knees, just,
It
not,
won't be a fast walk.
Okay,
Or-
well, no, I saw me fast.
or a mountainous walk, it could be.
Right, it won't be mountainous. We won't be walking to the Regicide Trail. Right? Is that the one up at the top of West Rock?
It'd be the
We won't be going up
cornfields.
the top of West Rock.
You could, yeah, I was gonna say, you could go from the cornfields and then out.
We
through-
did that.
Weaving through those properties.
The
out
last walk I
to the
led
beach
went
road.
from the train park
Yep,
on Center across the street, through that up to
Up.
and around the cornfields and back.
okay, maybe from the cornfields out through to North Pease and
Probably
back.
do that, yeah.
Because that one's not too rigorous, and it's very lightly traveled, because people don't really know where it goes. You feel a little awkward coming between houses on the trail. It's an
Mhm.
interesting trail too.
Okay.
But yeah, if you
I'll
could-
look for a date in December.
And then at our next meeting, we'll talk about 2017.
You better catch me in between baseball season and baseball season.
Both baseball seasons, this fall and the spring?
Yeah. So it may have to be like February.
Is there a winter baseball season?
There is.
Oh my lord.
Well, they do Saturday and Sunday workouts.
Are we gonna do January?
Good. If
Weather
someone would
permitting,
like to.
Weather permitting, I'll do January.
Weather permitting, you'll do
If weather permitting, if it's good. Probably, something like,
I have snowshoes, so whenever, we can do whatever.
He's gonna snap
to
his
be announced,
snowshoes onto his
but
brand new
probably
knees.
down
That's right.
around something of that sort. It's pretty easy, because if there's snow on the ground, we're not gonna wanna do something, really.
Nothing hilly, for
challenging.
sure, yeah.
There aren't too many hills in Woodbridge, are there?
Well, there's some flat spots in Woodbridge here and there. A few. All right. And we'll carry on our discussion of trail walks at the next few meetings as well. Even though they're lightly attended, I still think that we should do them. Just to keep the public involved as best we can. And you never know with events who's going to show up, so we'll give it a shot.
So for December, we say tentatively the 17th.
Tentatively the 17th. Are you tap dancing over there?
That's me. So.
He's exercising his knees.
I actually got my trail walk list here. And Lauren, you said the 5th. Okay.
5th 9 a.m.
All right. Next up on the agenda is the Department of Environment and Energy, or Department of Energy and Environmental Protection, DEEP, the Open Space and Watershed Acquisition Grant, the OSWA grant. This is an annual grant that the state puts out, provided that there's funding. We have come close to applying several times, had to bail due to technical difficulties in coordinating all the moving pieces that happen when you're trying to acquire properties. So in the packet that I handed out to folks, there's one page that summarizes the grants. Yeah, you guys got that there. So grants are made for the purchase of land that is valuable for, that should say recreation,
Yeah.
a prime natural feature of the state's landscape, such as West Rock, habitat for native or animal species listed as threatened and endangered, undisturbed and outstanding examples of native ecology, property that's important for enhancing and conserving water quality, or local agriculture, or could be classified as a watershed. So those are sort of the top level criteria. More specifically, they give additional points on importance to protecting land next to watershed properties, proximity to urban areas, vulnerability for development, consistent with the state's plan of conservation and development, and lands with multiple values. So water supply and recreation, and or forest protection, and or fishing. So there's various criteria that are interesting. And linkages between open spaces are granted higher priority. The amount that we could be awarded is up to 65% of the fair market value of a parcel. So to put that a different way, if the town, last I checked, we were about $80,000 in the open space fund for the town. So 65% of fair market value would be $230,000, which would allow us to match $80,000. So we could go after properties up to approximately.
We're actually at 75,000.
Okay. So 220,000. I'm just doing a lower number in my head. But that's the ballpark number that we could consider in terms of acquisitions of properties. Now, in addition to that little blurb about what the grant is, I included 2 pages of the pitch that I gave to the Board of Selectmen actually earlier this year. Maybe it was the very end of 2015, I can't remember now. The Conservation Commission had recommended applying for this grant for the purchase of 1875 Litchfield Turnpike. It's 28 acres of undeveloped open space at the base of West Rock.
Does it have a name, like a person's name?
Oh, it is, we call it the Nugent property.
That's Nugent. Okay.
Yeah. The second piece of paper that I have here provides a nice visual of what we're talking about.
Is that the one that connects?
So the north side of this property abuts the Darling parcel, and the south end of this property abuts state property. So it sits nicely in the middle of 2 publicly owned parcels. Purchasing it would allow us to legally cross from the Darling property onto state property. There are trails on the state property. And it would go another step forward towards getting us that full greenway around Woodbridge and enhancing the greenway in the West River watershed area.
We still have that piece though between.
We still have segments that have to be worked on, which may end up being, signage and parcels along the road.
But then the private piece, right?
We have the West Rock materials.
Right,
That's the big, right now, that's the big gap in the whole procedure.
It is.
We're trying to work with them.
Because also apparently there's that area there is very, a lot of, is it copperheads?
This is the Copperheads on the slopes of West
On the
Rock.
slopes there,
over by
quite
West
a
Rock.
few, apparently it's protected area, or it's an area where there are a lot of, not endangered, but I guess that whole area, there's a lot of snakes living in that particular area. Someone had approached me.
Along West Rock, you mean? Yes,
West
it
Rock
is,
along there, yeah.
So if you're a herpetologist, that's where you'd like to go? Is that right?
Exactly, yeah. Somebody just contacted me and said that they were opposed to having the trail go through there
Yeah.
Because of the snakes.
because of the snakes. And it's one particular area in the state where there are quite a few of them.
Yeah. And it's,
So that would
Are all snakes?
also be a good reason to not have a trail through there.
Yeah.
Tom Embersol from the West Ridge
Park.
Yeah, he contacted me. He wants to do a trail from the east side of that property up onto West Rock. He thinks we should try to obtain some sort of an easement from the owners of that property that we're trying to acquire
Yeah.
for that trail. So
Yeah, I just had a question. It said the West River Greenway was approved. So who approved that?
That's a state designation. So the state approved the West River Greenway.
Okay.
And that was
Like DEP or
in
something?
May of 2015. Frank could speak more specifically to how that all worked out, how the West River Greenway got approved. There was a state approval, right?
the what?
West River Greenway?
Yeah. Oh, yes. It's definitely an approved greenway now. Yeah, that was done quite a while ago. Yeah, the 2015, I believe it was done in May of 2015. We got approval for the West River Greenway.
Is that DEP?
But that just means that we can possibly get some funds to improve the area around the river. Some of the trails are already there. New Haven has plotted an area through the city of New Haven with different walkways that are already existing for the greenway, but there's actually no path.
But there's no trail.
There's no
along the
continuous
river.
path. Let me put it that way. But there
Yeah,
are some
how-
trails. There are some continuous trails from Edgewood Park all the way up to through Westville. Not necessarily trails. Some of them were the side works that were done when they did the flood control. I mean, if you go down Westville, there's some pretty wide areas there where there's walkways right through the back side of Westville along the river up to the park, up to West Rock Park. And there's also some trails from West Park Park up along Valley Street, up along the ridge, and also along the river, going all the way up to Pond Lily.
How does it
And
get?
the-
Right, so then how does it get from Pond Lily across the Merritt Parkway?
And then from Pond Lily
Under the bridge?
under the bridge, yeah,
Just
yeah.
under the
There's
bridge
a
that's
new
designated as a.
there's a new sidewalk that's going to be installed with the Exit 59 project.
Uh-huh.
And the Watershed Coalition requested that be a stone dust multi-use
that's
trail.
good.
And that would be right in front of the Pond Lily Reserve off of Whaley Avenue there. That would go probably from Walgreens all the way up to under the bridge.
Right.
And then, we still have a problem with that gas station
Mhm.
there. So, nevertheless, though, with signage, you could cross the street to the sidewalks that are on the opposite side of Litchfield Turnpike, all the way up to Bradley Road,
Mhm.
and then across
yeah.
Bradley Road up to Wells Fargo Bank, where our other trailhead is.
Right.
So I mean, it's never going to be a complete trail, but a lot could be done with Bradley Road, I think, because there's already sidewalks there that could be
Right.
improved.
Plus, they can hit the streets through there. By
Yeah,
the
and then-
field and all the way along that way.
Yep.
Yeah, and then there's a lot of possibilities once we get in that area. Like Tom's saying, Bradley Road all the way down to along Canol's Pond, and then we'll still have to work on that one gap between where the West Rock Materials is right now.
So I brought this up because we've applied for it before. We had part of the grant application requires a appraisal of the properties. We have one. It's still valid.
Sort of.
Why is it more than a year old?
Yes, but it will be over a year old by about 10 days, and the state counts that as being, I checked with them.
Oh, did you?
Yes, so
And-
if the commission does want to move forward with the grant for 1875, and the Nugents are open to selling at a reasonable price, then I would contact the appraisers, ask them to write a letter stating that their appraisal is still valid, and the state, since we're so close,
Yeah.
they would allow it.
Okay. All right. So the key to what she just said is if the Nugent family would agree to a reasonable price.
Who approaches them?
town.
The town does. Betsy has approached them in the past, worked diligently, and with some frustration, I know. So my feeling is that we should try to re-engage now. This grant is not due until February of next year.
Do we have everything else together?
We do, yeah. It's all written. It's easy as long as they're agreeable. But my feeling is that we should find out if they're agreeable, and if not, then we should look elsewhere to put our efforts related to this grant.
Does anybody remember how far apart we were on price? I
Very
believe
far.
price was it was pretty
Very
steep, wasn't
far.
it?
Yes. They want $20,000 an acre.
Yeah. I think we were hundreds of thousands apart, not just tens of thousands apart.
That was not the impression I got from
Well,
we had
the owner
conversations.
that's here
but
is more agreeable.
I think it was
But
more the family than it was Mr. Nugent.
But Tracy, you had the thought that maybe with the holidays coming up, if we could get a family together to meet at town hall to discuss it, and if they saw the property, maybe they would have a change of heart, knowing that there's one buildable lot on 28 acres, and to get to it, you need to cross wetlands. It pretty much sinks the value of what you perceive. And if you don't live here, if you live in Ohio or California or wherever they live,
Have they done their own appraisal?
no, they haven't done their own appraisal.
They probably don't care about selling it, right?
It's perhaps their way of saying they just don't want to sell it and want to keep paying taxes on it.
I think they honestly believe they could get a lot more money for it, but I'm not sure if that's realistic or not.
Now, another parcel in town that's still undeveloped is up on Park Lane. It's about 8 acres. Again, one buildable lot. It abuts town property, utility property, and there is part of our trail network that runs through it. It also abuts land trust property. That was for sale for a while. I think it's been taken off the open market. But I remember it was somewhere around the 120.
Is that the one that's over by?
I like to say Crumb Elbow, just because it's a place no one knows. What's Crumb Elbow? It's on Park Lane, so if you're coming,
It doesn't sound so good.
I know.
Off of Ansonia.
If you're coming up from Westville, up the hill, you
Yeah.
know that split that 313
Yeah.
takes at that same intersection.
Just before you
You
get
Not
go
far
Park-
after you
Park
go
Lane.
under the
Turn
underpass.
right.
Not, you go under the underpass coming up the hill.
Yeah.
Not
Before you
far
turn right
out.
to
You wouldn't
Rimmen.
know it unless you were going
Just
down
before
there.
Limit.
It's
Yeah.
just after the underpass, before.
No,
Yeah,
it's
on-
just before you
Go underneath the
go right
underpass,
to
go up the hill.
Yeah.
Just before you would turn right to go onto Rimmen,
It's
there's
a
another
hill
road.
right.
I thought that was Pease. That's.
No.
That's.
No, Pease is a little further
that's-
down.
This
This is
Yeah.
further up,
Yeah.
it's right off of
Just
it.
before
Okay.
Pease.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, so before you would actually turn onto Rimmen, there's another, it's a dead end.
Okay.
Um,
And is that near anything?
There's a
Tracks up to, actually, we have a trail.
There's a trail through
Trail,
there. There's a trail through there.
Okay.
And it is used. Mostly, the last time I was there, mostly used by ATVs or motorcycles.
Lovely.
But they seem to be staying over there and not getting elsewhere in the town. So if they're happy over there, maybe we should let them stay over there.
They were crossing Milan
there's-
the other day. The
Really?
ATVs.
Miley?
Really?
Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Milan? Milan?
that's how I.
Milan.
Really?
Woodbridge
Where
people
on
say
Milan?
Milan.
Off of Racebrook.
Really?
Mhm.
There's no.
I'm just telling
Huh.
you, they went
Yeah, but
by
the
me.
kids have it up there. The boys have it up
Mhm.
there, up on Milan Road.
Do they?
Yeah.
Huh.
Anyway, the other option in front of us is to see what other parcels are available in town, or skip the grant application altogether. I have a hard time walking away from an opportunity, personally, but I'm certainly open to other.
Have we given any
Opinions.
thought to trying to purchase an easement from Mr. Nugent rather than the whole property? Or maybe the back end of the property, which would still give us a path for
We
the
were
trail,
doing
but
that
not
with someone, right?
necessarily
Wasn't that one?
his great
Or was that-
frontage, if he has a frontage lot where he might not want to sell.
Yeah, I think the tricky part on that parcel is, as I recall, the only buildable piece is the one in back by West Rock. And if we were to lop off that piece for the trails,
There goes your buildable
there's your
lot.
buildable lot, and you can keep your wetlands.
How wet? I guess it's pretty wet.
Yeah, it's West
It's
River.
all wet. It's mostly wet, yeah, it's pretty wet back there, yeah.
So what else could they sell it for?
So I know that area pretty
mean,
well. I mean,
Well,
back.
the advantage to that
behind
is-
the Darling House, so I guess to the right of that, as you're walking in,
It meets all the,
it's kind of like all overflow from Knoll's, right? I mean, it's
Yeah.
But what?
all wet back there unless you go way up,
What is
right?
the
So you got the
That's-
trail behind the Darling House that goes out and it goes to the right, and then you got the stone wall.
Well, there's another
Yeah.
argument.
I
to
think
not-
beyond the stone wall
is
is that property, right?
right, that's where the property begins, right, just behind that stone wall.
Okay.
Exactly,
That's
yeah.
where they also have hunting blinds up there in the
But
trees.
also, if you come in from above Bond Road, before you get to Clark Road, there's like an old trail. Just before you get to Clark Road, but on the opposite side from Clark Road. There's like an old trail
Is there
there.
a trailhead there?
Yeah, and it goes down, and I think that abuts the opposite
Right,
end.
but that's the Darling House, right?
No, before the Darling House.
Before the-
Before the Darling House, yeah. Before the Darling House, yeah. And I think that abuts that property. That property gets all the way down to that area. And what's nice about it is it does have that Class 1 or Class 2 watershed land there, because the river, there's a nice section of river that goes through it also.
Sure, yeah.
There's a lot of wetland, but there's also a nice section of river that goes through there.
Right, yeah.
Just before you get to Luciani's property.
Right.
And people do fish there.
Yeah, and people do fish there.
The other point on this property is that, as Julie was mentioning, is that why would anybody want to build on it? And that's a valid point, is that nobody has built on it. The likelihood of somebody building on it is very low.
Be nice and secluded back there.
But there's so much restriction, right? So why, I don't understand that. I mean, yeah.
That might be part of the reason why they can't get a driveway to go through the wetlands.
Right.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, I kind of think that's the point, because I don't know where the access would be to get down there, other than going through the Bishop
Because you'd have
Trails,
to
the
go
way
over
we
the
get
West
to it.
River.
We get to it through the Bishop
They
Trails.
have to go over the West River to get back there.
Yep.
They
And
probably.
a lot of the
could-
West River back there is all covered.
It's all, and it's not.
As you approach Knoll's Pond, you can't follow that river.
No, because it breaks up and turns into marsh.
Right, it turns into marsh, but also before it actually does
Splits
that,
up into, yeah.
it's all
to-
covered. I mean, I tried to walk the river toward Knoll's Pond.
Yeah,
There's too
and
much
it gets
brush in there.
completely covered
Grown in.
with brush. We actually had to go out and look for a woman who'd
Oh,
wandered
I
out in the
remember that.
middle of Knoll's Pond and was stuck out there.
Oh my God.
And we tried to approach from all different sides of Knoll's Pond, and I had gone in through that way, and it is so thick.
It's really difficult. You have to walk far away from the river and try
all
to
the way
get in
back
through there.
around.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
it's bad.
it's real difficult, because it's really overgrown in there.
Yeah,
Are there copperheads in there too?
they're all over the place.
So should we decide a plan, like maybe somebody who has the authority can ask the people, and then we go from there, and then if not that one, do it the other one? Because we should at least apply, don't you think?
I do.
Okay,
And,
Great.
and that's the approach that I would like to take, is
okay,
that
so
let's
who we ask that?
well, Betsy and I could
Okay.
work together
Mhm.
to approach the current owners, see if there's an opportunity to have a meeting in person.
Any idea how far up to the base of the West Rock that property goes?
I think it.
All the way to it.
Really?
Yeah. And then it's state property after that, or City of New Haven property after that.
Because the only way to get around it is go up either side of the trail and go up to the top of West Rock.
Yep. And it only gets steeper as you get closer to the
Yes, it does.
West Rock materials.
And those are the only two properties that.
Those are the only two that are on my radar. It's not to say there aren't more, and I encourage you guys to, I don't know, I go on Zillow periodically just to see what's out there. And get depressed about the value of my house. But there could be other opportunities that have come up recently that I haven't seen.
I don't think so.
Yeah. So, to to make it all official.
Can I just ask one question?
Absolutely.
Other question. What are, when, on the, I'm still working on the matching the addresses with the names. It's a very, seems like a simple thing, but it's not. So what about those properties that are listed on the open space plan? Is that in the same, or is that just that we?
This is certainly one of them that's listed in the open space
Yeah.
plan. The other ones are farmland that are owned, and currently, some of them are still used.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Sorensen's property, for example, up at Mary Mountain, he still uses it actively. It's not to say they wouldn't entertain a purchase, but I believe this grant is for a fee simple purchase where you actually own the property versus buying the development rights versus buying an easement. I believe this is for the whole thing.
Okay. I wasn't sure
Also,
what the
those
difference was.
those properties are mostly desirable properties, not necessarily for sale on the list, aren't they? Most of the ones that you have on the list, other than.
Yeah, those in the open space plan.
Right, if they come available.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this one
When they become
Is
available.
is available. It's been
Okay, I
available for a
see.
long time. I know
Yeah.
there's been lots of work for the last 20 years, I think, to
Oh.
acquire it.
Okay.
The
so
struggle
you-
continues.
yeah.
So what I'm looking for is a motion to move forward with discussions with the family.
I'll make a motion to move forward with discussion for the Nugent property.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion about the motion? All right, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, unanimous. So hopefully we'll have some information available at our next meeting in November. All right. Next on the agenda is the forward progress on our open space plan revisions. Some have homework. Turn my computer back on.
Very optimistic with use of the word forward progress.
Well, it's not backwards. It might be sideways. So, some changes that have been put in so far. Again, this is just a revision from our 2003 plan, changing the formatting and flow of the document into something current, so we've got an editable document moving forward. A lot of the language is the same as what we had in our 2003 plan, just with some rearrangements as we've discussed in the past. The current items that were still up for revision include the section on use designations of open space. And that was something that I was going to have Tracy work on.
Printed it, left it at work.
It's a perfect place for it. Is it still sitting on the printer down the... Or is it in the queue and you got to enter your code?
No, it's sitting there.
In addition to the use designation work, we were going to also include a section about the West River Greenway. Frank did supply some language with that. Just got it, and what I'm going to do is adjust it and put it in so that we can review it at our next meeting. But I did include a map for those that don't know what the West River Greenway actually is. And this is a map that I would like to include in some way in the open space plan, just so people know what the West River Greenway is. You can see it does go from New Haven all the way up through Bethany, so far as Beacon Falls. Does that even go through Prospect?
Looks like it might.
Other changes that we're looking for in the open space plan included the list of properties. Some of the properties are listed here by name only, which is kind of difficult when you're not the one that originally wrote it. I mean, folks that originally put this together knew what they meant when they said Mies,
old
Kelsey, and Kozak properties, or the Haight property, or Shepherd Farm. Oh, that one's a little more understandable. But what we want to try and do is get addresses tied to them, so it's very clear, especially to folks that are just reading this.
Mies, Kelly, and Kozak. There's a Mies and a Kozak on the thing we did, but and one's on Ford Road, one's on one address of Ford Road, the other one, but there's no Kelsey. So I don't know if there's anything, you know. So
That just might have been how they knew it, and it actually is under somebody else's names.
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So. Oh, I'll figure it out later. Okay.
So we're working on those bits and pieces.
Yeah, I got, and then Betsy and I are gonna work on the rest of this tonight, but I came here today and the only piece of information I could get was the average tax per household is 11.5.
Okay, so right, you're referring to the section about
Yeah.
the metrics and demographics about the school systems.
When I get the rest of it, I'll give it to you. It just has to be updated from 2001, which is what they had last
Yeah.
time. But I think we shouldn't put anything in until we get an apples to apples thing, because Betsy was saying that the apples to apples thing is harder to get than some other.
And I'm wondering, is it in the POCD even?
Well, I guess my initial question is, what are you looking for? Because if you're looking for the average price of
Look at page 9.
per household of what it costs to educate students, that's much more complicated than finding out the average cost per pupil, which is really easy. You just call the state and they can tell you that. Otherwise, Tony has to do all sorts of math and make certain assumptions before he does that math.
Okay.
And it's not clear if he would be making the same assumptions as were made in 2003, if that's the question.
Average cost per household was approximately $9,000 per year and nearly $11,000 for Amity Regional, while the median real estate tax collected per household was $72.35. So this is now the median,
Okay.
or average. I don't know if that's the same.
All right. So these are details that we're getting ironed out in the open space plan. I did drop in a map of our greenway as it stands on an overall town map. I also added a section on funding opportunities, just to try and save future Conservation Commission members some research. This was a list that we had put together probably 3 years ago. So just grab the name of the funding source, drop it into Google, and then I did have links in here, but some of them turned out to be dead links because the USDA forestry program changed where they put their webpage. So I figured it's better just to put the name of the grant opportunity and a description in there. Are there any other thoughts and comments people have in general about the open space plan?
No.
Just, all right. I think we're getting close to the point where we can call it a draft. What I would like to do.
I mean, I guess maybe I do have one.
Yeah.
In thinking about the section that you asked me to work on,
Yes.
it makes me think about, again, I know we've talked about this, but how this interfaces with the POCD. And if we are designating Class A, B, C property, that seems more like a zoning issue than ours. And I'm a little uncomfortable with that section.
So that section specifically, I was going to mention that I think when I see use designations, I think of the other commission in town, the Commission on the Use of Publicly Owned Properties. I think they should have input into anything related to use designations because, well, it's in the name of their commission. And I think it's also good to get more input into this document other than what's in this room.
Yeah.
Isn't that part of a discussion we had about what we intended when the property is purchased, if it was to be used just for passive recreation, walking trails, or if it was something that could possibly be used for some type of sports, something like that for the town.
Exactly.
Which would be something that we would recommend. Certain pieces of property really would only be good for trail walking, if it's through the woods or forest. But then if we're purchasing other property, which is open fields, that could possibly be used for more active recreation, then we were looking to say, all right, because there are other towns, Guilford being one of those,
Mhm.
which have the different designations to say, well, this would be open space,
That's
but
not-
also something that could be used for town recreation. So
And that's not their POCD that has that? That's their open space plan?
that's part of what, yes, that was part of, I think, if I'm, unless I totally missed the whole idea of it, but that was part of what we discussed, is trying to come up with what our recommendation would be for that, as opposed to just saying, all right, we want to purchase this property for open space. Well, what does that mean? What's open space? So I think at that point, we're trying to kind of say it could be used for different things, not just, walking on.
Yeah, and to your point, Tracy, I agree. I think there may be a clear process should be defined, that it's not just Conservation Commission saying, these are the classifications. Maybe it should be Conservation recommends these classifications to QPOP, who reviews and approves, and they recommend it to TPZ or
Yeah.
some process, so that everybody that is involved with land use in town has a say in the designation of a parcel. Unless it's pretty, well, no. Yes, let's leave it at that.
This says here, the Conservation Commission and the Commission on CUPAP
Yeah.
defines these open space classifications. And I don't know that you
And-
give yourself the authority to do that either, without other input from.
Yeah. Yep. So I think this section can be more thoroughly vetted.
Mhm.
But I'm not sure that the TPZ would get involved with whether it could be hiking or if it's open space used for public. I would think it'd be more CUPOP as opposed to
Yeah.
TPZ deciding whether you could play
Well, there's just some
golf, frisbee golf on it as well as hiking. I don't think
No,
TPZ
right.
would have any.
They're more involved with development and whatnot, aren't they, in town planning?
Right, if they were
Yeah.
going to build on it.
I would think,
Then
yeah, I
TBZ
think
would get
this
involved,
would be
but
in
it
our
was gonna be-
arena. I mean, we already have, different designations of open space, low impact, moderate impact, all that.
Right.
No, those are the ones that are being, that's the thing I'm talking about, that's where I'm uncomfortable. We're defining those in here, and it says Conservation and CUPOP will define low impact, moderate impact, high impact.
We talked about having a joint meeting. We didn't,
Yeah.
maybe we should.
Well,
I think we
have.
should.
We did
Oh, maybe
a couple of
again.
years ago.
We've
We should
done-
probably do it again.
Yeah,
We've done joint meetings in the past, for sure.
because that could just take care of it.
Well,
Or-
that would at least get us along the way of
Yeah.
taking care of it.
Yeah. All right, so why don't we plan that? Why don't we plan a joint meeting? It might be a special meeting.
Or a special meeting.
Special joint meeting.
A special.
A special joint meeting.
I will get a hold of CUPOP and see if we can schedule this special joint meeting. Maybe in the first half of November. To discuss specifically this one topic and not really broaden it out to the whole open space plan, but just focus only on this one section.
Yeah.
of the
I think that would
open
be
space
great.
plan.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's, do you want any specifics, or are we still doing general?
Will you highlight it when you send it to me?
Yeah.
Well, you just circled something, so what do you got?
There's a statutory reference, and I don't think that section exists. I think it's 12-107 subsection, with just a lowercase b, not a parentheses capital B. So, just,
I don't think I ever would have
Anyway.
caught anything like that.
I don't know.
Oh, is that, you know what?
Pretty good.
Yeah, that was copy and pasted from the POCD.
Because the lowercase b has definitions of, so I think that's what you were looking for.
Right, and that's in the classification of open space. Protected
Yes,
open space
yep.
versus open land, municipal
Yep.
managed, et cetera. Okay. All right. Very good. Then we'll continue forward with a few last bits of cleaning up. We'll have that special joint meeting. And maybe by the end of 2016, this is done.
Good, that's great, then we can
That-
call it 2017. Can we? No.
Please no. There was 2015, I already changed it to
I know,
2016.
so then, it will,
Then what? Well, then we can work on the
We've done it.
management plan.
we are awesome.
We can work on the management plan after that.
That sounds great.
Can I interrupt for a second? I think I got my information for the trail walk on November 5th.
Oh,
So Dillon Road to Coachman Lane. Doesn't that sound cool?
What trail?
That's a big deal, isn't it?
What road?
It's beautiful,
Dillon?
I'm told. Dillon Road to Coachman Lane.
There's a trail there?
It's blue.
Pretty nice.
Oh, there is a blue that runs over to the Shepherd
And it's
property.
cool.
Where's Coach?
Do you know what it's called?
No.
It's,
It might be the Bishop.
I
Bishop
think
West?
it's,
It
it's
might
this.
be Bishop West.
Oh, west, yeah, it could be through, yeah, it comes down. Where's Coachman Lane now?
nice. Is that up near where the kilns are?
It's above the
Oh,
kilns.
It's above the kilns.
Behind Shepherd's, and it goes over to Camp Whiting.
Anyway, doesn't
Right.
that sound
It
cool?
ends up
See
in
what I
Camp
mean?
Whiting
That's a
from
cool
down the
idea.
road.
That's a beautiful trail.
Yes,
So
it's a beautiful
Oh,
trail.
does it?
Yes.
Don't tell me
Like,
to do
Is it kind of hilly? I think that's pretty
guess
hilly
they were
there, isn't
concerned
it?
about-
Going-
It's got a few ups and downs to it.
Yeah, I think it's fairly
Yeah.
hilly there,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's not.
But that's
Cool.
Yeah, same
The
trail.
kilns,
It's the
Julie.
kiln. There are old cement kilns.
There's
They
old
used-
Right, behind the
kilns
kilns,
from like
yeah.
the native times.
well, no, it was the turn of
The turn of
from 18th to 19th century.
That's what I
Someone
meant.
tried to start up a cement factory because they could
The
mine.
cement
They could
factory.
mine the stone, but it turns out that the stone was really cruddy
It wasn't
and
the
made
good
horrible
stone.
cement.
It was late.
So the
They also
business
did that
went
Now
over
we
up
have all
against
those
West Rock as
foundation
well. They had
problems.
a
Should we talk
place
about
over there.
that?
So.
Yeah, it's just the type of
Anyway,
stone
I'm
that's
sorry
over
to
there.
interrupt and to elongate the meeting.
Well, where would you park? You can't park on Dillon.
Because there's going to be a giant crowd. Giant crowd everywhere.
You heard
We'll
Dillon?
put up billboards.
Well, you can barely get two cars.
Well, Coachman's a dead end, isn't it?
Where is Coachman? I don't even know where it
It's
is.
right
Coachman
over there.
is just past Clark, right?
Yeah, I think so. There's a little rise before you go all the way down, and
I
it's
think
that
it's a
little.
great idea.
That's your walk. I said.
Perfect. Do it.
I have to
Absolutely.
find another.
So why don't you just, when you have a chance, take a look at it and let me know where you want people.
Yeah,
to get
where
it.
we should meet.
Well, you just do what I do and enjoy yourself in that hole.
You
Have
would,
an
yeah.
assistant.
I would not go out in Copperhead land.
No, this isn't Copperhead
Lane,
area.
Rattlesnakes up there.
Thanks, Tom.
We found
That's
two
not
snakes
funny.
at my house the other day. I am
In your
Good-
house?
good ones?
at my house.
Oh, okay, but not in.
We just won't go to your house.
I don't.
What
I know
do you need
you
to
and the
know?
boys don't like.
Where to park?
Where do you
Okay.
want people to meet?
Where should, yeah.
So the last item on the agenda is the chairman's report. That's my job.
Okay.
So I just have a couple items. The Conservation Commission has been a past member of Kakiwick. What's Kakiwick? The Connecticut Association of Conservation and Inland Wetlands Commissions.
Obviously,
Clearly,
right.
didn't know that. It has a annual membership fee of $60. In our annual budget, we have money for such memberships. To be official, I will ask for a motion. I'll make the motion that we continue our membership. Is there a second?
Sure. I second.
Thank you. Any discussion about continuing the Kakiwick membership? All in favor?
Yep.
Aye.
Okay. Along that same vein, Kakiwick is having their 39th annual conference in November, and I have two different dates on their paperwork here. So I'm going to have to look at a calendar to see exactly what it really is. Saturday, November 12th. Saturday, November 12th. It's a
It's a date for me.
Of course. It's a it's a great day of conferences. It's an all-day affair, usually 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. You get a lunch with it. I intend to go. barring anything that comes up. The money, the registration fee comes from our budget, so it's free to us. This year they are going to be at the Sheridan in Rocky Hill. So in the past it's been in Wallingford. This time it's a little further north, but only about a half-hour drive or so. So if you're interested in going, let me know. We could carpool. The other last minute bit of info, just for those members that don't watch Town Channel 79, or don't know, the Country Club of Woodbridge, the contract with Billy Casper Golf is not going forward. The proposal from...
Is not or is?
Is not.
Is not, oh.
The proposal from Redan has been pulled off the table.
Oh.
God.
They're trying to get their ducks in a row. They're focusing on Yale at the moment. They're not going to go forward with our area. So
So we're back to square one with the country club?
well, so that leaves the open space option on the table of the country club. And my personal feeling is that we should have a discussion at conservation about it, since open space does fall under our purview. So I'll talk to Ellen to see if she wants to recommend that conservation take up discussions on how to move forward with the property. If it's going to be open space in 2017, well, what do we do? Do we mow anything? Do we just let it go wild? What?
It sounds like it's a property management issue for
It does.
the conservation.
And I'm sure-
Commission now.
I'm sure there's been already discussions about what to do about it.
They're
But-
starting, there are a lot of different decisions to make, and each one has a budgetary implication.
So I'll approach Ellen just to see if there's something that conservation could lend to the discussion.
How long is the golf gonna continue?
Until December 31.
Weather permitting.
Yeah.
And then everything's liquidated. Everything must go. So that was it. That was the last bit of info. It was news to me as of Tuesday, so I thought I would share it with everybody. So,
Great.
motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you,
Go on.
Jason.
Okay, great.